Well, I was about 12 years old, coming from 7th and 8th grade. And it was myself, my sister who was 2 years older, and my brother who was 3.5. And we lived down here in the Smith building for quite a few years. Until I lived there until I graduated. And I came from the streets of Scranton. Then it was tough down there, and I wasn't too sure right from wrong. So we came out here to the homes, and it saved my life, really. I mean, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made it in Scranton. And we had about 8 Holmes kids playing football for the town, for E-Town High School. And 7 of us were seniors, and 5 of us started on the football team that went 11-0, and it's the only undefeated team in the history of the school. So our Holmes kids meant an awful lot to that situation. I loved working up here. I loved driving these kids. The kids for some reason respected me. I had no problem with the kids up here at all. The house parents were great. I just enjoyed it. I don't want to brag, but I've been pretty successful in football. And I speak at a lot of clinics. One of my biggies is the Masonic homes and how I made troop around Pennsylvania and all these schools. And ended up back at the homes in E-Town. And every time I've ever spoke, I've mentioned that and how proud I was.
My situation that brought me here was, when I was younger, I was a bad kid. I didn't listen. I got into a lot of fights due to the fact that I was a new kid on the block. I got kicked out of my aunt and uncle's house. Then I transferred to my grandma's house, got kicked out of there, and I had nowhere else to go. My mom couldn't take care of me financially, and so I was brought here so that I can have some place to live and be able to move forward with my life, be able to make something of my life. What did I learn here? I learned a lot from here. I just learned how to grow up, how to be a man. This place taught me that really through anything that you're faced with, you can come out stronger. Really, I just learned how to be myself more, how to open up to people, certain people, how to accept people, just become a better person, really. Help me think before I do, because before I came here, I did before I thought. So I moved around a lot as a kid. And just coming here, being able for someone to tell me, "Oh, you're going on vacation," it was an eye-opener, because I never knew what a vacation really was. That's just something that I seen on TV, and I knew I wanted it someday, but at the time I never had it. But being told from a young kid that you're never going to be able to make it, I prove people wrong every day. Just with the hard work and determination that was installed in me from a young kid. Honestly, my profession that I want to do right now is I want to go into the military, into the Marines, and serve 20 years there. From there, I would want to go into the federal government. Without this place, I wouldn't be anywhere where I'm at right now, you know? So I just want people to know that this place, it fed me, it nurtured me. It just made me a better person. If that's one thing that they really installed here, is study before anything. I really, really am thankful for that too, because that's the first thing that I do before I do anything else. I have to get my homework out the way, then I play or relax or go to work, you know? So I make sure my priorities are straight before I do anything else. They gave me a place to live. They gave me many opportunities that I would have never imagined of. They saved me, because, like I said earlier, I was going on a downward spiral as a young kid. My life was not bright at all at the time. And the longer I stayed, the more things I started grabbing onto. Started playing more sports, started doing better in school, started getting along with people more, just benefiting way more than, like I said, I would have ever imagined. It's just being able to help other people like I've been helped. That's just what I want to do.
My father died in 1949. There was 3 children still living at home. His Masonic brothers came to my mother and suggested that there was a place in Elizabethtown that would help raise her children. And that's how we came here, April 1950. The things that made me feel connected with other children was the fact that we were unique. We were the Holmesies. I had 42 brothers and 21 sisters when I was here. So we were a body, a group. We were self-supporting of each other. We had each other's back. If you mess with one Holmesy, you mess with the other ones. Some of the things that prepared me for was by the fact I had to clean my own room, had to take care of my personal items. I had to work on a work detail to keep the Smith building clean. When I went to college, I was able to easily adjust to sharing a dorm room with somebody. When I went into the service, I had absolutely no problem adapting, living in the barracks and being responsible for working in my area. And I had no problem working as a team with the people in my squad. Later on in the corporate world, I had no problem adjusting to doing duties that was assigned to me because they were assigned to me in the 6 years I was at the children's home. So altogether, again, I come back to the foundation that the living in the children's home gave me, carried me through my adult life. I guess one way it affected me was the thing that impressed me was I didn't know who the Masons were, but I knew they were a group of people who took care of me. So I think what affected me was as I got older in the corporate world and that, I wanted to help in my community, and I wanted to be part of something to be involved in my community, whether through a park and recreation committee or a Little League organization, a Babe Ruth baseball organization, that I could give back because people gave to me. So therefore I think, and I hope I pass this on to my children, to give back because there's always people that gave from me. Oh, favorite moments. Christmas time was a wonderful time. We would have Christmas Eve service at the Shell Chapel. Then we would come up to the John Smith building and we would exchange gifts that the different lodges gave. Again, we didn't know who they were, but we got gifts from the different lodges. And then Christmas morning, we opened the gifts that was from the family. Some of the other moments was the trips we took, whether it's to the circus. We ate dinner once a year with the Grand Lodge officers in the grand dining room. And playing on the grounds. I mean, 8, 9 years old, thinking that at that time they made movies like Robin Hood and Ivanhoe. The Grand Lodge building and looking up through the flower, you thought it was a castle. And you just had this image that you were in the castle, and then we discovered the underground tunnels, and we played in the tunnels, which was quite an experience, which is true. Well, the way the Masonic homes / villages has affected the Stum family is that my dad died in '49. 3 of us came to live here in 1950. My brother graduated from Patton in '53. My sister graduated from Elizabethtown High School in '56. And I went home to live with my mother at that time. And when I went to college, I borrowed money from the Masonic Lodge and paid back interest-free my tuition. In 1993, my mother came to live in a nursing home. She subsequently passed away in a nursing home at age 90. And in June of 2013, my sister and her husband moved back to live in the independent living up in Truman Road. So for the last 63 years, the Masonic Village has played an important part in the Stum family, which I am forever thankful for the Masonic fraternity.
My transition to the children's home was from the inner city of Philadelphia to the farmlands of Lancaster County. And I was able to come on a snowy day in December, remember it very well, and I was overwhelmed by the hugeness of the place and all the wonderful things that were here. I think the one thing that I enjoyed the most when I got here was the safety of being in a place where they weren't shooting guns at my home as they were in the inner city. I felt for the first time that I didn't have to be afraid. And so I was very, very happy to be in a place such as this. One of the things that helps us develop as individuals when we come to the children's home is that you are surrounded by many other children of different ages. So you have lots of big brothers and big sisters and lots of little brothers and little sisters. So you get to develop an opportunity to learn from those who are older and wiser and to be a teacher to those who are younger and smaller. Some of my favorite memories at the children's home would definitely have to be all the athletics that we were involved in. As I talked about being with older boys, we learned how to play athletics pretty well, playing against people older. And so being a part of the high school basketball, football, and baseball team, I still have one of my best friends who was my best man in the wedding, is also the godparent of one of my children, and we happen to still be golf buddies after all these years. So I am convinced the most important lesson that I learned at the children's home was discipline. We were on a schedule. We had to do chores. We had somebody who made us responsible. At home, I had no one usually at home and was probably running around the streets of Philadelphia. So I was able even to learn a little bit of right and wrong here at the children's home. And so I was able to go on to college and seminary, and was the first person ever in my family to do such. And that's probably the most important lesson that I learned while I was here. One of the things that I knew I wanted to do when I left here was to help people as I had been helped. I didn't know I'd be a minister. I thought I'd probably go into working at a children's home or something. But I went that path, and then I was able to return here and complete the circle and give back to the place that really is responsible for who I am.
I came from living with my grandparents in kinship care, which is like foster care with another family member. Me and my sister were staying with her, and my brothers were staying with my dad from originally being in foster care. And my grandparents were getting older, so they needed to retire, and so I had to find a place to go. My grandparents came here looking for a retirement place, and they found out about the children's home, so they decided to come here, and we came with them. Both me, my brothers, and my older sister. She graduated here a few years ago, and it's just been a unique but very good thing for all of us. I'd moved about 13 times, gone to 7 different schools, and this just provided a steady base for me that I could actually figure out what I wanted to do. And it was just nice to have that support that I needed in order to find out what I wanted to do and actually enjoy being a kid here. My little brother is actually my inspiration for that. I'm going to be studying speech pathology at Bloomsburg University, and being here gave me a chance to actually spend more time with him. Quality time, not just, oh, I live together with my brother. And I actually saw his speech pathologist and spent a day with her to see what it was actually like, and I really enjoyed it. And it made me want to help little children or even elderly adults that have problems with speech. The most important lesson I've learned here is it's okay to be a kid. I know that I stress about a lot of things, and it was hard for me to let go and just relax about a whole bunch of things because I was used to being like the kid mom in my household before I came here. So it was nice to just let go of everything I was trying to worry about and just enjoy being a kid for once and just embrace that. I love to sing, and I love art as well. So I got to do both of those things. I took, at the college here in Elizabethtown, I took singing lessons, and then down below with the residents, I took art lessons. So it was just nice to kind of schedule those in because I've been pretty busy with several jobs. So it was a good thing to just kind of focus on those and kind of forget about the busyness of growing up. I think this is a great place for anyone who's struggling in their home situation because this just allows you to have, again, that support base that everyone really just kind of needs in order to grow up into a good person, because I think it just kind of lets you choose your own path, and the people here support you in that. They don't judge you if you slip up every once in a while. I mean, we're humans. It happens. They forgive you for whatever happened, and they help you get past it and improve from it, learn from it. I think the people here have definitely impacted my life in a wonderful way because I've learned so much, from little life lessons to how to maybe balance a checkbook. I think just the people and the way they interact with you and how they care about you have taught me how to care about other people and leave a good impression. I think the connections here that I'll have are going to be lifelong. I think it's amazing that they pay for college, but even more than that, I know I can always come back here if I need any help with anything at all. Yeah, my little brothers live here as well. One of them is currently 14 and the other is currently 9, and I'm so glad that they're here. Hopefully they graduate from here too, like me and my sister. But I think it's great, and I will definitely be back to visit them and other people here.
Well, my transition to the Patton Masonic School occurred in the late 1940s. I was the last of 8 children. I had lost my father when he was 10 years old. We were excessively poor. The reverence for God also came into play very early on in my life. We had Matin service every morning. We were encouraged to go to the church of our choice in Elizabethtown each Sunday morning, and most of us did do that. So there were a lot of character building and integrity and all of those things, which has been very, very helpful to me in my Air Force career. I commuted back and forth to E-Town College each day for 2 years, pursuing a liberal arts degree. And they also saw to it that I had an academic scholarship and an athletic scholarship because I played tennis fairly well in those days. And so that was an opportunity I never would have had. But in my sophomore year, in those days it was during the Korean War, if you had 2 years of college and the ability to fly an airplane, or thought you could, the Air Force had an aviation cadet program. And I was sitting out at E-Town College one day, and a recruiter from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania walked by, and I was sitting there eating my lunch in the Student Union building, and he said, could I talk to you for a little bit? And I said, sure, sit down. Well, my career started in 1952, and I spent a year as an aviation cadet learning to fly and learning to become an officer, so that when I was graduated in 1953, I was a second lieutenant and had my navigator's wings initially. I went from there to Yokota, Japan, had 2 children over there. When I retired in 1988, I was the last person left on active duty that had been a qualified crew member on the B-29 bomber. Another one of my Patton opportunities showed up because of the character building and the integrity that we were taught, the reverence for God. I was selected to be the Air Force Inspector General, a job that requires a high degree of ethics. And I did that for a couple of years before my final assignment, where I was the number 2 gentleman for, or lady in today's world, for the Military Airlift Command, which has all military airlift for the entire world. And from there I retired after 36 years, and I might add that was a little over 25 years ago that I retired. If you could walk and chew gum, you went out for the sports teams. I was kind of a tackling dummy for the practice sessions during the football seasons because I was a little. We had a play called the Springer Toss, and the quarterback would line up behind the center like this, and I'd line up behind the quarterback, and there'd be a blocking back over here, and they would hike the ball underneath the quarterback's legs back to me. I'd catch it, and I'd run up, and the quarterback would go like this, and the halfback would go like this. I jumped into their hands, and they threw me for 3 yards. You know, those are kind of neat things you remember. I remember coming over here to the Masonic homes as we knew it in those days, rather than the buildings. And we picked apples, for example. So in 1987, I was made a Mason in sight at the Grand Lodge Hall in Philadelphia. And it opened up in many ways other opportunities. Later on, I was selected to be a 33rd degree, and so I'm very proud of that. And I don't make any bones about it, not that I did anything, but that the fraternity has done things for me, and I think that's the important message that has to be passed around as we talk about Bob Springer. We really ought to be talking about the fraternity. There are three people who are very important, other than my natural parents, in my life. One was Mr. Thomas Franklin Patton, who had given his wealth to establish the Patton Masonic School for Boys. And the other was that young Harrisburg recruiter, Air Force recruiter, who caught my eye at E-Town College at the close of my second year. And then the other is my wife, Bonnie. Because if I don't come to Patton School, that Mr. Patton formulated, if I don't come to Patton School, I don't meet that Harrisburg recruiter, and I don't meet my dear bride of 60 years. So it's been very, very important to me.